we are back into open session. The first order of business will be the approval of closed session minutes dated February the 18th, 2020, and the semi-annual closed session minutes. And I will entertain a motion to approve.
I approve to keep the minutes closed.
In a second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Mr. Grody, you're up.
We have a few things. First, administration makes the recommendation to approve an unpaid 5-day suspension for Brian Whitlock, custodian.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Hines.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi? Yes. Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Dorr?
Yes.
Mrs. Janes?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay. We have some non-renewals. We will now vote on the resolution authorizing the non-reemployment of Justin Laux, a probationary teacher in the district.
I'll entertain a motion to approve that recommendation.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Hines.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Dr. Dorr?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Janes?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries.
We will now vote on the resolution authorizing the non-reemployment of Lauren Wagner, a probationary teacher in the district.
So moved.
In a second,
Second.
Mrs. Hines.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Dr. Dorr?
Yes.
Mrs. Janes?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries.
We will now vote on the resolution authorizing the non-reemployment of Kimberly Cantwell, a probationary teacher in the district.
I'll entertain a motion to approve that recommendation.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Hines.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Dorr?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Janes?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries.
Okay, we have several postings. Administration recommends the posting or permission to post high school head cheerleading coach, high school summer student workers, 10 to 12, 2 special education, self-contained, these would be new positions, one at the high school, one at the General John A. Logan attendance centers, 1 special education resource teacher, a middle school band music teacher, 5th grade teacher, 1st grade teacher, middle school health teacher, middle school 8th grade science teacher, and the General John A. Logan student advocate.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve those postings.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Mrs. Hines. Take your
Mr.
pick.
Beavers?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Janes?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Dorr?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries.
All right, 2 more items. Administration makes the recommendation for the following employments. Kevin Spire, middle school bilingual aide. Lucas Boyd, a middle school special education teacher, and that'll be for the next school year. Timothy Eisenhower, a custodian. Justin Bilderbeck, a custodian. Brian Alexander, the middle school head softball coach. And Heather Cross, the middle school 6th grade volleyball coach.
And I'll entertain a motion to approve those hires.
So moved.
In a second,
Second. Second.
Mrs. Hines.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Dr. Dorr?
Yes.
Mrs. Janes?
Yes. Try to sometimes, people.
She's on time delay.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries.
Last and not least, we have the recommendation to hire Lacey Brown as the General John A. Logan secretary.
I'll entertain a motion to approve that hire.
So moved.
So,
Second, Mrs. James.
She's gotta do it.
Mrs., well, I don't know.
Annette, you want to second that? Sure.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Janes?
Yes.
Mrs. Evaldi?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Abstain.
Mr. Beavers?
Yes.
Dr. Dorr?
Yes.
Mr. Rungy?
Yes, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, people.